Okay, guys, we're going back to all the way to 2017. This actually occurred this past 2020 in March. Mexican national who ran Stash House and laundered money for a group linked to Sinaloa cartel sentenced to 5 years in prison. That's the key factor, 5 years in prison right there. A Mexican national who was charged in the first major narcotic trafficking indictment resulting from an investigation led by the Los Angeles Strike Force was sentenced to 5 years in his role in an international narcotics network that transported 21 pounds of pure methamphetamine. Pure is a key word also, on behalf of a trafficking organization linked to the Sinaloa cartel. This individual, 39, Edgar, was now represented by a federal defense lawyer. No, he wasn't. He was even part of his agreement was to forfeit or to pay a $17,500 fine that the judge placed on his conviction. But that judge is not going to come out with that number out of the blue. That has something to do with being negotiated with your actual lawyer. If you have that kind of money, your lawyer is not going to be a defense attorney from the federal government. They do exist for free too, and they do very, very good jobs, by the way, especially their investigators. So the indictment outlines a scheme to import hundreds of pounds of methamphetamine, cocaine, and heroin from Mexico into the United States. The narcotics were distributed throughout the country via a network of cartel associates, and the proceeds of the domestic narcotic sales were then funneled back to Mexico. According to the indictment, the drug trafficking organization stored drugs in a stash house in San Gabriel Valley, which Edgar managed. During the 2-year wiretap investigation, members of the strike force seized narcotics with an approximate street value in Los Angeles of more than $6 million. That's a big hit. The seizure included 290 pounds of methamphetamine, pure, 280 pounds of cocaine, 30 pounds of heroin, 81 pounds of marijuana. He was one of 9 defendants who were taken into custody in 2017 following a grand jury indictment. Actually, everybody else got pretty hefty, 7 years or above in time, okay? Um, his brother is actually in is still a fugitive. He in relationship to the money laundering, they conducted financial transactions in Los Angeles area and elsewhere within the intent to conceal and disguise the nature of the drug trafficking proceeds. His actual brother, Jairi, the lead defendant in the indictment, who is currently a fugitive and believed to be in Mexico, his mother and cousin were charged in the indictment and both were sentenced. They did not plead. They took it to trial. They got 87 months. They got over 7.5 months, 7.5 years in prison. This guy's mom got more time than he did. So how does that happen? And that's where that actual fine falls into place. The more money you got, the more you can give, the more they're leading for you on the back end. Don't forget that these actual lawyers and judges, they mingle in the same groups. They participate in the same fundraisers, same social clubs. So that's why this individual only got a little bit less than 5 years. And if he's a Mexican national, he might have just did 3 or 4 years out of that, and got deported as his actual part of the agreement. So that's how you actually can actually get less time, especially if you're a Mexican national. Okay, guys, don't forget to like and